I'm going to show you how to make a necklace using your treasure bag. Because we had two color schemes in the treasure bag, I have made two necklaces that would be one bag or the other. So in one bag you'll get this color scheming, and in the other you'll get this color scheming, and you didn't get a choice, you just got the bag you got. One was predominantly blue and one was predominantly purple. These are what these look like. I'm going to get you really close and show you exactly what they look like so you can see. This is the front of the necklace, and it hangs really pretty on the neck. It's an 18-inch necklace, so it hangs at collarbone level. This area hangs just below collarbone level. Very nice, lays nice, doesn't tangle because of the way it's put together. Now, this is a treasure bag tutorial. However, you do not have to have the treasure bag to use this as a techniques video. It'll show you how to make this. You could do this in seed beads. You could do it in anything. Use the same technique. You could do whatever kind of focal you want, or no focal. You could just do smaller beads on either side. That would work fine. So don't worry about having to have the treasure bag to do this particular necklace. This is just kind of a techniques video as well as a treasure bag video, so that you can learn a couple different ways of stringing. So let's go ahead and look and see what it takes to make this necklace. Okay, let's go through the material list. Because we had two possible color combinations in the bags, and some people received a predominantly blue bag, some people received a predominantly purple bag, I am going to do the color combinations you will find in those two individual bags. So this is the color combination for the bag that was predominantly blue. So I am using the white rectangular bicones and the blue 12mm flower beads and the oval beads in peach. So you got two strands, you got one in peach and you got one in this floral white. So for the white strand, that is what I used, was the peach. Right, this is what it looks like. If you do the white strand, it will be the exact same process, exact same beads, you'll just have different colors. I'm now going to do one in purple so you can see the end result of both combinations, and I want you to see how pretty this is. Turned out really cute. I think it's really pretty. This is a very basic stringing and crimping type of video, so that's what we're going to be doing, and I'm going to show you what we need for this project. Now remember, if you have blue, use blue and white and peach. If you have purple, you will use purple, peach, and the floral white. So we're going to use 3 of the 12mm round floral beads that came in your bag. So you'll have 3 of them in your bag. They'll either be purple or blue. I'm going to use the purple for this one. And for this color combination, because the purple bag is a little bit different, I will be using the peach. These are peach rectangular bicones, and you have a whole strand of them in your treasure bag. For this project, you'll use a little more than half of them. And of course, if you have blue, you will use the white rectangular bicones. Then I'm going to add to the treasure bag some 8/0 Toho Starlight galvanized permanent finish beads. So I have some 8/0s, and you'll need just a few 11/0s. Both of these are Toho galvanized permanent finish Starlight. And then if you have the purple bag, you can use your peach ovals if you would like. But for this one, I think for a little contrast in color, I'm going to go ahead and use the floral white ovals that came in the bag. So you have both strands. You either have this one or you have both of them. You have this one and this one. So you can choose which you would like to do. But for the contrast with the purple, I think I'm going to stick with this one. And then you're going to need some size 2 crimp beads, 4 of them. I have Beading size 2 little crimp tubes, and you're going to need 4 of those. And then one of the toggle clasps that came in your treasure bag. Now, if you do not have a treasure bag, don't worry. This is a techniques video. You can use any beads you want and make basically the same type of necklace with the techniques that I show you. So don't worry about that. Then we have some soft flex beading wire, and you're going to cut two pieces. You're going to cut one piece. This is medium. Let me show you. Soft flex medium. You're going to cut one piece 10 inches long, and you're going to cut the other piece about 22 inches long. We're making an 18-inch necklace, but we need plenty of room to do our crimping. So I've cut it 22 inches. If you decide that that's too much for your crimping, then you can always cut less. But 22 inches and 10 inches is about what I'm using. And I think that's it. So you can also use any beading wire you have. You don't have to use soft flex. The soft flex is just my favorite, and this medium size works perfect for this particular design, so that's what I am using. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, to get started, I'm just going to set this little short strand or little short piece of wire aside for just a few minutes. And we're going to start with the very middle of the longest part of our necklace. So what we're going to do is use the longest piece of wire, and we're going to start with one of our focal beads and center it in the middle of the wire. Now you're going to have to center several times because it's not going to stay that way, but go ahead and center it the best you can. And then you're going to pick up an 8/0 seed bead on either side of the wire. So we're going to string from the middle out. Then we're going to do a combination. Let me open this strand of beads here. Sorry about that. I should have done that. Not prepared. Okay, so we're going to string from the middle out. And we're going to start with 3 of the rectangular ovals on either side of our focal. So I'm going to pick up 3 of these, and then 3 on the other side. And this is my left hand. Doesn't work as well. I better switch it. Okay, so I've got 3 on either side of my focal, and then I'm going to pick up an 8/0 on either side. Just like that. I don't have you in real close because you don't really need to see, you need to see more what I'm picking up and doing, and then really close in. So now I want to do a, I've got an 8/0, I'm going to do an oval. So either use your peach or your floral color white, which is really just a basic, really light peach, and then drop it on there, and then pick up an 8/0, and then do the same thing on the other side. An 8/0 and one of your ovals and an 8/0. Now we're going to continue doing this. We're going to do another set of the 3 elongated, but or not elongated, but excuse me, I have 2 8/0s on there. That's got to go. Let me fix that, and I'll tell you exactly what we're going to string. We'll go off camera and string it, and then we'll come back and I'll show you exactly what I have so that you do not get confused. If I can quit picking up that 8/0, we'll do this. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. This is the strand we are creating right here. So what we are going to do is we are going to pick up, we've got our ovals here, we've got our 3 in our ovals, then we're going to pick up 8/0s, and then we're going to pick up 3 more of the bicones, the rectangular bicones, and then an oval with 8/0s on either side, 3 more bicones, and then an oval, an 8/0 and an oval. So on each side you'll have 3 sets of your bicones, and you will have 3 of your elongated beads, and then we will come back. So go ahead and string that, and we'll be back. Okay, so let me show you what I have. And you can pause on it if you'd like. It is the 3 sections of the bicones divided by the 8/0s and the oval beads. So you have 3 sets of each type of bead, divided, of course, by 8/0s on either side of every set. Now, you want to finish up this part of the design, we're going to pick up just 3 11/0s on either side of the necklace. So we're going to, on this side of the wire, we're going to pick up 3 11/0s, and then on this side of the wire, we're going to pick up 3 11/0s. This just narrows it down so where we're going to connect the second strand in front, it will lay correctly. So this is what we have now. Let me back off here. We have our very middle of the longest part of our necklace done. Now I'm just going to put the ends together and just center it best I can. It's going to get off center again, I'm sure. And I'm just going to set it here and leave it here. And then I'm going to pick up my little wire here, and I am going to start making the middle section of this. Now, all of this will be the same regardless. If you decide that you want to make a shorter or longer necklace, when we do the upper back half of the necklace, that's when you will adjust your length. So if you, this is going to be an 18-inch necklace, which is medium size. If you want a small one, make a 16-inch necklace. And if you want a large one, make a 20-inch necklace. And you'll just adjust that in your stringing in the back. The front on both of these wires in the front is going to be exactly how I show you. So now, of course, you just want to make a strand that is a little bit shorter than your bottom strand so it hangs a little bit higher. And when you're measuring, and this is for people that don't have the treasure box, when you're measuring, you will measure from the inside strand after you've crimped it. You'll know how long your piece will be by that inside strand because it's closest to your neck. So you have to measure from the inside strand. Now we're going to begin making the middle. So I'm just going to leave this one laying here, and then I am going to look at my other design here. I'm going to start my centering of my beads with 5 of the bicones here. So I'm just going to pick up 5 and drop them down to the middle. And then an 8-0 on either side. And then a big bead on either side. So your floral 12mm round beads here. And then an 8-0 on either side of them. And then we're going to pick up an elongate or an oval bead on both sides. And an 8-0 on both sides. And I will show you what we have, and you can pause on it so you can look at it. And then we're going to do another oval. That oval's weird. Let me get a different one. And then another oval. And then we're going to do on either side another set of 3 elongated, or not elongated, I cannot get it together, I want to say elongated, the rectangular bicones. So we're going to put 3 on this side, and then 3 on this side. And then 8-0s on either side. And then an oval on either side. Come on, you. Get on there. And an 8-0 on either side. And then 3 11-0s on either side. Like I said, this just narrows it down a little bit. Okay, look at them and make sure you have both sides exactly the same. Look at this one, make sure you didn't miss anything, and let me zoom in so you can see exactly what I've got on both of these strands here. So let me put them together so you can see them. Center it. Just like that. That's what you should have. so you can pause it and look at it if you need to. And let me back off again. And now what we're going to do, just to hold one side for us while we crimp one side, because we're going to crimp this one on top or in the inside of this strand. So what we're going to do, just to make this stay for us while we do this, is we're going to pick up one of our oval beads and we're going to drop it down on one of the sides. So I'm doing it on my left side. And then when I get that bead down pretty far on that strand, I'm going to pick up my short strand, pull this together, and just run that short strand through the bead also. So let me show you what I'm doing. I'm just putting both strands through the beads. Now, you can get off center a lot doing this. So what we want to do is we want to put, this is holding it for us. So what we want to do is put the ends together the best we can and center our piece the best we can. So I'm just pushing down on that bead so I get it centered somewhat. Be careful not to knock your beads off your strand, especially your little short one here. And just run that little bead down so it holds everything for you. Then you're going to pick up a crimp bead on this longer wire on this side. That's just holding for us. And now we're going to pick up a crimp bead on this side. Then we've dropped it down, we're going to scoot it up the wire a little bit, and we're going to put this inside wire inside it, like this. And let me scoot over a little and get you in camera a little bit better. There we go. And now I'm just going to pull this short little strand up, pull this longer strand, and just adjust that until you can see this side is holding my tension. I'll scoot it down, make sure my short wires are to the inside, my long wires are to the outside, and pull this down so that there isn't a whole lot of slack here. Now you're going to see a little tiny piece of wire here. That's okay. But you do not want a whole bunch. You want it pretty tight. You want it to look pretty good. Make sure that your short wire is to the inside, your long wire is to the outside. Hold them apart like I'm doing, and then grab your crimping tool. In your crimping tool, on the second divot closest to the handle, so right here. So this is my first divot right here. It's got a little crinkle on one side and then a little half moon shape on the other. That is the section I'm going to put this crimp tube in. And I'm going to center it right on that crimp tube in the second divot here. Pull on your strands a little bit, push down on your crimp bead a little bit just to make sure you've got your tension good, and then squeeze. Now you have the beginning of your crimp here. You can see that this wire is encased in this side of the little tubes created from my crimp, and this wire is encased in the other side. Now I'm going to turn it to the side, and I'm not worried that my crimp is in the front because I can turn this necklace over, no big deal. So the fold is in the front here. It truly doesn't make a lot of difference. It's so small you don't really see it. Now we're going to go to this first divot in the plier right here, and we're going to place this crimp tube in it sideways so that the two tubes we created are touching the tool, and then we're going to squeeze. And then you should have a really nice crimped, whatever. And then I just like to kind of shape it down a little bit, so I'll just go around with my crimping tool in that first divot and just kind of squeeze it down and shape it up a little bit so that it's pretty. And then I can adjust this side a little bit too. But right now what I want to do with this is I want to cut this off very short to the crimp tube. So you can see I have the short wire here. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to put my flush cutters as close to that crimp tube, making sure you don't get the other wire, and pull on this and then just crimp it off so it's really close to that crimp tube. And I actually could have got it a little bit closer, but that's not too bad. You want to make sure that you don't get any excess, because this is going to be a pokey. There's wires inside your beading wire that they're just going to be a pokey. So I'm going to try to cut that a little bit better. Usually I can get it really flush. And of course I'm on camera, so I didn't get it really flush, but it's pretty darn close. And if you want to, if you can't get them cut perfect, you can see I have a little sticky outie there. We're going to see if I can get that to go into my 8/0 that I dropped down. If you want to, you can go ahead and put a crimp cover on your crimp too, so that will cover anything like that. So you can get one of those little roly-poly looking dudes and put it on there, and that will cover that. And I may have to do that. So let's see now. I've got this side prepared. Now I'm going to go to this side, and I'm going to pull this bead off. And I'm going to grab a crimp tube. I'm going to drop it on the longer wire and drop it down. Then I'll pick up the shorter wire and thread it through. And then I can just push that down, trying to be conscious of keeping my inside wire, my short one, to the inside, my outside wire to the outside, and not letting them cross inside the crimp tube the best I can, getting as much tension as I can without boggling up my beads and making them too tight. But I don't want a lot of slack. You'll see a tiny, tiny bit of wire on the outside beads, but that's okay, because you really aren't going to see that with your naked eye. You're going to see it on my camera. You're not going to see it when you're wearing it. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Now, the wire to the outside is to the outside. The wire to the inside to the inside. Hold them apart. See if I can arrange this. Hold them apart like this. Grab your crimp tool and line it up. I'm going to do it this way since that's what I did last time. Line it up. Push down on the beads a little, pull on the stringing wire a little bit, and squeeze. Now I've got my wires encased. I'm going to turn it sideways, and I am going to squeeze again, just like I showed you on the other side. Now we're going to grab our flush cutters and get as close as we can, and you can get very close. I don't know why I didn't last time. And cut that off. And again, I didn't get it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I may have to put covers on this. Let's see how the 8/0s are going to fall down to this. On this one, I got it so close that I could just drop an 8/0, and I just used my crimp tubes as part of my design. On this one, let's see what happens. So we're going to start stringing the back half of this necklace now. We have the focal area done, and we're going to string the back half and put clasping on it. But let me see if my 8/0 is going to fall down over that little tiny piece of wire, or it's going to get jammed up on it. Actually, I don't think it's too bad. Let me see. I don't want any pokies on the front of my necklace. So I'm going to get a couple little crimp tube covers, and I'm going to show you how to do that in case this happens, so that you know that you can do that. Now on this one, I didn't have to do that because I was able to get my wire cut so close to my crimp bead that I was just able to start with my 8/0 seed beads in the back end of my design, as you can see. Here's my crimp tube, and it's just flush. But since these didn't cut quite close enough, and that does happen quite often, sometimes you can't get close enough, and if you do get really close, you can cut your crimp tube, and you don't want to do that. So I'm going to try to find a couple little crimp tube covers, and I'll be right back. These are crimp tube covers. They look like a little roly-poly, and they're open on one side. And there are several different sizes. There's a little tiny size, and then a more medium size, and then a bigger size. This makes about a 4mm bead after you close it and around the crimp bead. So this is the size I'm going to use. You can get a pack that has multiple sizes in it. I know that Beadalon has them, and you can also get generic brands, but you just want to make sure you don't have a huge one or a little tiny one, because you're using a size 2 crimp bead and you need to get this around it. Now, my issue is going to be I didn't leave any room between these beads to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up one of these in my Mighty Crimper. This is a Mighty Crimper. Let me back off. It's bigger than your regular crimp tool, It says Mighty Crimper on it. It's by Beadsmith. The Mighty Crimpers really help. You can do this with your regular flat nose pliers or your chain nose pliers if you would like. However, having a Mighty Crimper really helps. Alright, so I have placed my cover inside the biggest divot closest to the front of the tool here, and I'm going to slide it on to my crimp tube. Now, I'm not the best at this, so I apologize if I don't do it well. I've always had trouble with these. Get it on there. And then I'm going to turn it away from me so that the fold is in the back. And then I'm just going to grab it with my tool. And focus on getting it centered in there, or you're going to get a funny closure. So just center it in there, squeeze it around until you're happy with the way it looks and that the crease is folded down pretty nicely. You're always going to have a little bit of an opening of the crease there unless you squish the heck out of it, but you can get it looking pretty good. So this is what that looks like now. So that is an issue that can be solved if you don't have a perfect cut on your crimp bead there. You can put a crimp cover on it. If you get a really nice cut, then you don't have to worry about it. You can just slide your beads on. I'm going to go ahead and put this cover on this side, and then we're going to come back and finish the top end of the necklace. This is what I have now. So I've got my crimp tube covers on either side, and I'm going to begin stringing the back. Like I said, you don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I found it kind of necessary. So this is what we're going to do on the back end here. We are going to do an oval with 2 8/0s on either side, and then a set of 3 of the rectangular bicones, and then an oval 8/0s and 3, and we're just going to repeat that until we get to the length we want, ending on an oval with the 2 8/0s. Now, if you wanted a longer necklace, this outside piece that you cut, you need to cut longer. So if you want a 20-inch necklace, cut yourself about 24 inches, so that gives you a couple of inches to do your crimping on the end with. If you want a shorter necklace, of course, you don't have to cut as much as I did. You can cut about, I would say if you're going to go 16 inches, then you want to cut about 19 inches or 20 to give yourself enough room. Now I have cut about 22, I believe, 21 or 22, something like that. So I said it in the beginning of the video. I don't remember that long. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to start stringing the upper portion here. And I'll show you how I started, of course, and then we'll just go ahead and do that off camera. String as long as you want, ending on an oval, like I said. So I will just begin. I'll start one side, and let's see how I did it. So I started with an oval, so I'll pick up an 8/0 and an oval bead and an 8/0. And then I'll do my set of my 3 little weird bicones here, and then an 8/0, an oval, an 8/0, and 3 more of my bicones. So I'm going to continue doing that until I get to the length that I want, and I will be back and show you exactly how many units I have to achieve an 18-inch necklace. Okay, this is what I have. I have 5 sets of the rectangular bicones, sets of 3, divided by the 8/0 oval, 8/0, and there's 6 of them. You start with an oval and you finish with an oval 8/0 set. And then that will make about an 18-inch necklace by the time we get on our clasping. Now, if you wanted to make it longer, go ahead. Just make sure when you do this, as I just noticed on this one, I was wondering why this one hung kind of funny. I have 4 in this one instead of 3. So just pay attention to what you're doing. Look at both sides before you crimp them. Look at the bottoms before you crimp them. Make sure that you didn't get any extra or not enough beads, because this isn't going to hang correctly if that happens. However, I did put this one on my neck, and it looks really nice. because it's on this back part. If I had done it in the front, it would have really made a mess. But I'll probably restring that. But at this point right now, I'm not going to. So I'm just going to use it as my example anyway. And then if I decide to sell it or whatever, I'll remake it. But, you know. So this is what we've got here. And now we are going to drop a crimp tube down on our wire here. Now you want to make sure, let me get another crimp tube, that one's kind of yucky. You want to make sure when you do this, when you are, that's an 8/0, when you are crimping your inside here, you want to make sure that this last string is centered pretty well, or you're going to end up with one side longer than the other. You'll short yourself for your crimping on one side. So you want to make sure that it's centered pretty well. You're not going to get it perfect, but get it pretty close. Then you're going to drop a crimp tube down onto your wire here. Then you're going to pick up your clasping, put it through the loop on the clasp, and then go back through your crimp tube. Now you can go through the first couple beads if you'd like. If it slides through, that's fine. Let me see if I want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go through just the 8/0 and the crimp tube. Now, once I have it on here like this, I just hold the stable wire. The stable wire is the wire coming up into the loop. The movable wire is the one coming outside of the loop here. I hold onto the stable wire and I just pull this down so that I can maintain my tension in the strand itself. Then I can just hold onto it with my little plier and pull it into the size loop I want. Now you want a decent sized loop so that your clasp will move around. That's a little bit too big, so I'm going to hold the stable part again, pull the moving part just slightly, and then I have a really nice loop here. And the way I slid it in, I kept my wires parallel to each other inside that crimp tube. You want to make sure they are not crossed, and then you're going to again hold your little wire apart there and then put your crimp tube centered in the second divot on your crimp plier, just like this, and crimp or squeeze, whatever. Now you can see I have made a nice little fold in the middle of that crimp, and my wires are encased in two little separate tubes. Now I'm going to turn it sideways in the first divot of my crimping tool, just like this. You can see I have the tubes on either side, and then I squeeze again. And now I have a really nice tight crimp. And I'm just going to try to cut this really close again. See how well I do. That was better. Okay. And there's my ending. So now what you want to do is go ahead and do the other side exactly the same way. What's on there? And when you have finished that, we will be back. Okay, so I did finish, and I will show you the necklace, but first I want to show you what I was talking about measuring from the inside strand. You're going to use the outside divot of your beadboard, or you can just use a ruler and lay it out, but you're just going to measure this length here. You're not going to measure this portion. When you lay it on your beadboard, you're going to center it right on that 5th bead in the middle, and keep in the outside divot here, and you will be able to measure how long your necklace will actually be. Though this is a little bit longer here, and you're going to have what would be basically like 19, maybe 20 inches on your chest, it's definitely not that around your neck. So you can see from the 9 to the 9, from the dead 0, I have 18 inches. So that is how you measure that. And then I want to show you what it looks like. And I'll show you the other one too, even though I have a boo-boo in it. I'll show you it because I want you to see the color scheming and how pretty it turns out with the white and the blue and the peach. And then this one has the peach, white, and purple. So let's go close here. What I'm calling white are the ovals there, but anyway. Let's see if I can get them to look halfway decent there. I put them on. They hang really nice on the neck. They are just at, this area is right at collarbone level. This is right beneath collarbone. And they spread out very nicely on the neck, looking like this. And it's really, really a very, very, very pretty necklace. I'm actually going to wear these because they hang really pretty on the neck. And you could use them in many different outfits because you have a few colors to choose from to match them with, and I think that it turned out really pretty. I'll show you the whole thing here, and that's just a really simple design, stringing and crimping, and showing you how you can use crimp covers if you have an issue with your crimping. Anything that you would like, you can always make another strand. You can crimp in all kinds of different areas. You can do lots of things with your crimping. This is just one technique that I wanted to show you, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you make one. Bye-bye.